class we are going to discuss about classification of crystalline solids. Before going to the main point, we will do the revision of last class. In last class we have discussed about the general characteristics of the solid, and even we discussed about the types of solids, that is crystalline solids and amorphous solids, and we have discussed the characteristics of the solids about the shape, volume and compressibility and diffusion and flow and intermolecular forces, how it is present between the atoms, molecules and everything. In this class we are going to discuss about the classification of crystalline solids. Most of the solid substances are crystalline in nature. For example, all the metallic elements like iron, copper and silver, non-metallic elements like sulfur, phosphorus and iodine, and compounds like sodium chloride, zinc sulfide and naphthalene form crystalline solids. These are all the examples for the crystalline solids here. Crystalline solids are classified on the basis of nature of intermolecular forces operating in them into four categories. One is molecular solids, ionic solids, metallic solids and covalent or network solids. Here all the four types of crystalline solids we will discuss one by one in detail. First one is molecular solids. Molecules are the constituent particles of molecular solids here. These are further subdivided into the following categories. First one is non-polar molecular solids, second one is the polar molecular solids and hydrogen bonded molecular solids. So here see classification of crystalline solids. Crystalline solids divided into four categories. So the first one is molecular solid, second one is ionic solids, third one is metallic solids, fourth one is covalent or network solids. So these are the main four types of the crystalline solids. So molecular solids again subdivided into three types. First one is non-polar molecular solids, polar molecular solids, third one is hydrogen bonded molecular solids. So these are the three types of molecular solids. Now we will study one by one in detail. So what is meant by non-molecular solid, non-polar molecular solids? Argon and helium or the molecules are formed by non-polar covalent bonds. For example, you can give here hydrogen molecule, chlorine molecule and iodine molecule. In these solids, the atoms or molecules are held by weak dispersion forces or London forces. Means these two forces, any one force is present between the molecules or atoms here. These solids are soft and non-conductors of electricity. They have low melting point and are usually in liquids or gaseous state at room temperature and pressure here. So it means non-polar molecular solids here weak dispersion force or London force. Any one of the force is present between the atoms, molecules or ions. You can give the example here, hydrogen molecule, chlorine molecule and iodine molecule. Like how we will write the hydrogen molecule? Between hydrogen and hydrogen, right? And between chlorine and chlorine and between iodine and iodine, there is a weak dispersion force or London force is present. And they are very soft in nature, means non-polar molecular solids are soft in nature and they are non-conductors in electricity. So next one is polar molecular solids. Polar molecular solids, in that the molecules of substances like HCl and SO2, hydrogen chloride and sulfur dioxide, etc. are formed by polar covalent bonds here. The molecules are held together by stronger dipole-dipole interactions here. These solids are soft and non-conductors of electricity. Their melting points are higher than those of non-polar molecular solids, yet most of these are gaseous, liquids under room temperature and pressure. So compared to non-polar molecular solids, and the melting point will be high for the polar melting point will be high in polar molecular solids compared to non-polar molecular solids. And here non-polar molecular solids also soft in nature, okay. And here you can give the example in polar molecular solids like HCl and SO2. So how we will write the HCl? The bond will present between H and Cl, that is dipole-dipole interaction will be present between the hydrogen and chlorine here, okay. And these are also non-conductor in electricity. Non-conductor in electricity like non-polar molecular solids. So the next one is hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Here the strong hydrogen bonding binds molecules of such solids like water, okay, that is ice. They are non-conductors of electricity. They are volatile or soft solids under room temperature and pressure. You can see the structure here, H2O, there are two H2O molecules are there, and the bond, that dashed line is present between the O and H, that is the hydrogen bond. The hydrogen bond is very strong, right. And here these are also non-conductors of electricity like non-polar and polar molecular solids, and here these molecules are volatile. If you keep the outside ice or water, it will volatile solids and under room temperature and pressure. So next one is ionic solids. Ionic solids, in that ions are the constituent particles of ionic solids here. Here ions are the main constituent particles. Such solids are formed by the three-dimensional arrangements of cations and anions bound by strong Coulombic forces, that is electrostatic force. These solids are hard and brittle in nature. They have high melting and boiling points. Since the ions are not free to move about, they are electrical insulators in the solid state. It means they will not conduct the electricity very easily because there is no free electrons present in the ionic solids. However, in the molten state or when dissolved in water, the ions become free to move about and they conduct electricity. Ionic solids, here main ions are main constituent particles, ions, okay. If you take example as an NaCl, this is the one compound, okay. Here Na plus and Cl minus are the main constituent particles of the ionic solids here, okay. Here in solid state, the ionic solids are insulator in nature, means they will not conduct the electricity because ions will be not free in ionic solids. But when you apply thermal energy for NaCl, if you apply thermal energy means heat, okay, if you heat the compound, it will come into the molten state and ions become free, okay. For example, you can take NaCl and put into water, okay, and you know NaCl, it will dissociate as Na plus and Cl minus in the water and ions are free to move there. So when the ions are free to move and it will conduct the electricity. So remember, in solid state ions will be not free, that's why it will act as an insulator. So when you put into the water, when compound, if you put into the water, ions will become free and it will conduct the electricity. So this is all about the ionic solids. So next one is metallic solids. Metallic solids, when heat is supplied to one portion of a metal, the thermal energy is uniformly spread throughout by free electrons. So another important characteristics of metals is their luster and color in certain cases. Metals are highly malleable and ductile. So here in metallic solids, so you can see in the picture also there is a positive and negative ions are there. So positive ions is round and is very bigger size, and negative ions are very smaller size, you can see. And here you just consider, so there is a metal, okay, and in metal the positive ions are here, and metals is a collective of positive ions, and the negative ions are surrounded by positive ions here, okay. These positive ions are responsible for the thermal conductivity and electrical conductivity here, and these the electrons are movable, they are mobile, you can call it as a mobile, means they are movable in all the directions. So if you take, this is a, for example, iron metal, and you just start to heat in one side, one end of the metal, and electrons will carry that charge and it will move to the another end, and you can feel it is another side is also hot, right. So it means the electrons will be moving throughout the metal here, and if you start to heat one end of the metal, and you next after few minutes and another end will also become a hot there. This is all because of free electrons which are present in the metals. And the next concept is covalent or network solids. Crystalline solids of non-metals comprises of covalent bonds between adjacent atoms that are strong and directional in nature, due to which atoms are held very strongly at their position or over the crystal. They are also called giant molecules. These solids are very hard and brittle. They have extremely high melting points and may decompose before melting. They are insulators and do not conduct electricity. For example, you can give the diamond and silicon carbide are typical examples of such solids, but graphite is an exception as it is a soft and a good conductor of electricity. So here we have to study about only diamond and graphite, why diamond is very hard and why graphite is soft. So diamond structure, if you see the diamond structure, it is hexagonal in nature, all the atoms which are present in the diamond again connected to the next atom. So in graphite structure, if you see the one layer, there are 3 layers, okay, here only you can see 3 layers, there are so many layers will be present in the graphite structure, but the structure is look like layers, it contains layers, and one layer of the carbon atom is connected to the another layer of the carbon atom. One carbon atom, on each carbon atom of one layer is connected to the neighboring of 3 atoms there. It means carbon is a tetravalent. One each carbon, if it is connected to the neighboring of 3 carbon atoms, 3 neighboring atoms, the one will be present as a valence, right. So that valence electrons is exhibits the, it means it moves overall throughout the compound there, and it is responsible for the conduct the electricity here. So that's why, because of that valence electron, the graphite is very soft in nature and diamond is very strong in nature, because in diamond there is no valence electron is present. So here assignment, so there are 5 questions you take as assignment here. First question is, why are solids rigid in nature? And second question is, why do solids have a definite value? We have to give the reason here. Third question is, why is glass considered a supercooled liquid? You have to give the reason why glass is considered as supercooled liquid. Fourth question is ionic solids conduct electricity in molten state but not in solid state. Explain. Okay, you have to give the reason why ionic solids conduct electricity only in molten state, not in solid state. Fifth question is what type of solids are electrical conductors? Malleable and ductile. You have to give the proper answer for that. And this is all about the classification of crystalline solids. Thank you. Sai Ram.